Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of USPTO Hour. My name is Dan Vavanese, and I'm the Acting Commissioner for Trademarks. Trademark team is here today to provide business updates and developments in several exciting areas, including AI, IT, register protection, trademark policy, and pendency and processing times. Today, I'm joined by a few of my trademark colleagues. We have Greg Dotson, the Deputy Commissioner for Trademark Administration, Amy Cotton, the Deputy Commissioner for Trademark Policy, and Christine Cooper, the Acting Deputy Commissioner for Trademark Operations. We've got a lot to cover today. Before handing it off to the team, I'd like to take a couple minutes to talk about two very exciting topics, specifically AI and NIL. Now, starting with AI, Trademarks has had some very exciting developments in AI, which the team will be discussing in further detail today. We believe that AI will have a dramatic impact on our IP owners, and our goal is to implement tools that promote higher quality applications when they come through the door, in addition to more timely and higher quality review and examination by our employees. For our customers, we want to provide tools that help them submit better and more complete applications, including assistance in doing a search. This will allow our customers to make more informed decisions before filing. And then for our employees, we want to provide tools that empower them in doing their jobs even better, so that they can more efficiently review applications and focus on high quality, substantive decision making rather than the administrative aspects of the job. We're particularly excited about our new Class Act tool, which we announced last week. This new AI tool incorporates search elements, such as design codes, into our systems immediately after the application filing is submitted, thus making our marks searchable instantaneously. This is a huge benefit to our stakeholders and to our employees during the search process. Next up, we have an AI image search tool and a mark description assistant. Both of these will provide help to our filers to search more effectively and to submit better and more complete applications. In the area of register protection, we're seeking AI solutions to identify fraudulent filings earlier in the process so we can efficiently address and remove them as blocks for good faith applications. And we'll also be evaluating other AI use cases in examination and application review to increase efficiency and optimize processes. Now, moving on to another exciting topic, NIL, or name, image, and likeness, which is of particular importance for athletes, celebrities, and public figures. Particularly at this time of year, athletes in sports are in the spotlight with a number of major sporting events on tap, including the NCAA basketball tournaments, which are going on right now, the start of the Major League Baseball season, and the NFL draft next month, just to name a few. To get in the spirit, Trademarks is stepping up its efforts to educate athletes and other public figures about the role that federal trademark registration can play in protecting their name, image, and likeness. Our campaign focuses on protecting your brand. Recently, you may have noticed, if we can go to the next slide, you may have noticed that we've had posts on NIL that went out in the past week through our social media, and we have several more to come. So keep an eye out on our social media for these. In Pittsburgh, at the end of April, we'll be hosting a booth and an NIL-focused USPTO hour specifically at the NFL draft. And then we've also created a new USPTO webpage dedicated to NIL. Here, and if we go to the next slide, here's a preview of the webpage that will go live tomorrow. So getting a little preview of this now before it goes live tomorrow. Our NIL webpage is going to have several features to it. It's going to explain why public figures should care about protection of NIL from unauthorized uses, including protecting against the use of AI deepfakes to impersonate athletes and celebrities. It'll define the differences between NIL rights and federal trademark registration protection. And it will give examples of the types of NIL that can be registered as trademarks when used to identify the source of the goods and services. And we'll highlight some celebrities with NIL related trademark registrations, such as Saquon Barkley, Tom Brady, and Wayne Gretzky, among others. So please stay updated on what we're doing with the NIL Protect Your Brand campaign through our webpage and our USPTO social media. There's a lot more to come, so stay tuned. So next, I'm going to pass the mic to Greg Dodson, who's going to talk a lot more about AI and IT. Greg?
Thank you, Dan. It's good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to speak with you today. I am Greg Dodson, and I work for Dan as his Deputy of Administration, as he noted earlier. In my role, I oversee information technology, and subordinate to that, artificial intelligence and emerging technology. And I'm excited to get to spend a few minutes with you today to kind of log roll a little bit on the amazing progress that we've made over the last several months. At first, I'd be somewhat remiss if I didn't pay homage and give credit to Director Squires and Deputy Director Stewart and our Chief Artificial Intelligence Officer Hayes for giving us runway and altitude to be able to do the kind of work that we need to do. They've provided top cover guidance and motivation to make these things happen. And without their astute leadership, I think we'd be a little bit behind schedule still. So, it takes a team to do this work, as I think it's not just a small little group of people on the trademark side. We work very closely with our CIO colleagues under Debbie Stevens and Mandy Moore. We have a really crack IT staff working for Glenn Brown, and then we have just a large group of subject matter experts that cross the examination team, the policy team, all of the money folks and personnel people, and it's just there's just a group of people that have come together to make this work, and we've made some really exciting strides. So next slide, please. Let's spend a little bit of time talking about AI today and the exciting capabilities and progress that we've made in recent times. So as I mentioned, or as Dan mentioned, actually, the Class Act Suite, which stands for Classification Agentic Codification Tool, a suite of 4 different capabilities that working with our team, our Booz Allen team, and some folks in the CIO, we've been able to make this happen. And as Dan mentioned, this tool really within 5 seconds of the application being put into the pre-examination suite will assign design search codes, generate pseudomarks, identify an international class, and really help our pre-exam team to focus on the kind of substantive legal work that they need to do and kind of step them away from the repetitive and rote work that they've been doing with these things. So we're really, really excited about this. Christine Cooper, my colleague in operations, is going to kind of spend a little bit more time talking about how this has affected the pre-exam team as we go forward. And one of the things that I wanted to mention, and I just heard Director Squires mention it, and you saw it under in the press release that happened just about a week ago or so, is we're kind of got this tagline now about 5 months to 5 seconds, and that's about what it takes now to get through that. Now, pro-exam team has a lot of other work that they need to do. This isn't the only thing, but it really frees them up, as I said just a moment ago, to be able to tackle those substantive legal issues that we've asked them to do. Another very exciting thing that we've done in the last little while, and it just happened on Monday, was under our examination policy team and under our trademark administration team, we released the internal USPTO chatbot. This is a unified generative AI platform. So it connects to a number of different LLMs that exist out there. And this was put together by our CIO's emerging technology team under Ramesh Pai and Scott Merker, and it's just amazing. I was walking around a little bit yesterday talking to some of the folks who had just been introduced to this, and they were very, very excited about what's going on and how this is going to change the way that they approach some of their work. And I really want to give credit to Heather Schubert and Greg Gable in the trademark team. for making kind of building out the beta test program and getting this ready for us to introduce to the larger staff. So those are some things for today. If I could have the next slide, please. Let's talk a little bit about AI, or information technology and artificial information for tomorrow. So Dan mentioned our trademark word and image search technology. We kind of affectionately call it TWIST. From my perspective, it's about the most extensive improvement we've made to external search in about a decade. We've made a lot of strides from tests to TM search and some other things like that, but we've kind of followed the same general process. We are introducing now, along with, and this is a vendor supplied product, we're using the Clarivate analytics tool to kind of mix in with what we've already got to try to provide a capability for our practitioners, our applicants, our registrants to be able to kind of take a really, really quick look at what exists on the image side of a potential mark. I want to take a moment now to introduce Jason Lott. Jason is, many of you know Jason, you see him a lot. He is kind of the face of the trademark web community. Jason typically operates in a role as the director of our outreach organization. You've seen him on our other USPTO hours as the host. He's been on webcasts, and he is our drill sergeant for the highly successful trademark boot camp process that we have. And Jason, I'm going to hand it over to Jason. Oh, just if I may, Jason is in San Jose now. Typically, he lives in Los Angeles. He took the role as the acting director of the Silicon Valley office in San Jose, and we're really, really proud of Jason. He's a great guy, and Jason is going to give you a little overview. I'm going to go on mute and let Jason talk. So Jason, over to you, sir.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Greg. Appreciate it. And hey there, folks. Great to talk to you today. And I'm thrilled that we're able to talk about this advancement in trademark search that is going to be coming. I know that search is incredibly important to so many of you. We have heard over the years what sorts of improvements that you want in search. And one of you, even today, I saw in the Q&A said, hey, are you guys ever going to be give us the opportunity to do an image upload in order to conduct a search? And the answer is yes, going to be coming soon. Jessica, if you could move on to the next slide. So this does not exist yet for you members of the public. It is still being worked on. The goal is to have it ready for you in early April, so coming soon. As you can see, the goal right now is to add a little link right there on various of our trademark pages. So you can have a quick link so you could jump right to the search system and conduct some AI-assisted image searching. You know, it hasn't all been worked out where that's going to go. Next slide, please. So it could be that we'll also see a little link here. Do we really need it there? I don't know, because the big green button is there. And that's what you want to always hit to go into our trademark search system. So we don't have a demo for you today. We have some screenshots because it is not ready to go yet. So Jessica, if you could, go ahead and move to the next slide there so folks can kind of see what it's going to look like. So for those of you who have been using search for a while now, you're kind of used to this interface. And as you can see up in the top right-hand corner there, Megan has boxed it in red. You see a little camera with a little word that says new next to it. And that is how you are going to bring yourself into this image search functionality. As you can see, it's also added as a drop-down on the left-hand side, image search, new. You don't necessarily, the way that I understand the system works, have to select that drop-down. You could just hit that camera. So let's pretend that we're hitting the camera, Jessica, and move on to the next slide. And there you can see a modal that we're often used to when we're doing anything online. There's a drag and drop function here. So all you would have to do is drag the image that you want to search into a little box, or as you can see there, you can also do a browse file. It's the same sort of functionality that you know from Trademark Center and from adding images there or specimens and things like that. Same sort of functionality. So as you can see there, I guess we're going to be doing a search of a dragon. You can see that's already been dragged and dropped there into the modal. And then once you have dragged that in there, all you have to do is hit the search button. So Jessica, let's move on to the next. And here you go. This is what it's going to look like. You'll be able to see your mark up in the top left-hand corner there. Megan has boxed that dragon in red. and you can see these are the sorts of results that the search is going to be doing. Now, again, this is not, we're not saying, hey, these top 3 are the ones that are most relevant for you. The AI is doing some searching, it's returning some results. As always, it is going to be up to you to figure out what is most likely to cause confusion or not likely to cause confusion. But the goal here is for the AI to grab the elements, search the elements, and then search in our database without you having to learn those 6-digit design codes. Those design codes are going to still live on. So for those of you who don't want to do this sort of searching, you like doing it old school, you just want to keep using your codes, that's going to be okay too. You can still search by design codes using like DC : and so forth. So that's a really brief run through some screenshots of what the system is going to look like. And we're very excited to bring this to you. I know it's something that folks have been wanting for a very long time, and we're very happy that we can finally accomplish that for you. So look for it to be coming soon. So thank you very much, Greg, and I'm going to turn it back to you.
Thank you, Jason. And yeah, we have been asked for this for a long time. So before we leave this page, I just want to do a quick shout out to Mr. Chris Doninger, who has kind of kept this idea warm for about the last 6 or 7 years. And Chris, in his day job, is the managing attorney for Law Office 111. So he wears a real hat, but he has been kind of the shepherd and the instigator of all the work that we have going on behind the scenes for this. And I just want to make sure that we recognize the work that he's done. Okay, Jessica, next slide, please, if you will. All right, so some of you may have caught that when I was talking about Class Act, I mentioned 4 tools, but I only showed 3. That's because we've got another one coming out here in about a month or so. And this is one that all of you are going to see generally on a daily basis when you open up Trademark Center as part of the normal application process. This is a tool that does mark description and color claim work for you behind the scenes. So when you make so that when you drop your application into the system, you'll get a query from this. And we're going to do another quick sneak peek. And in order to do that, I'd like to introduce you to Matt Schwab. Matt is the chief of our electronic filing and public web services team. He is also our senior legal administrator for trademark technology and systems. Matt is one of those rare individuals who has kind of a very unique blend of technical cred and legal expertise. He began his journey at the USPTO a number of years ago as an examining attorney. We're really fortunate to have him in trademark administration. And by way of credibility, he wanted me to remind everybody that he's a graduate of the University of Michigan Law School and to say, go blue. So there you go. Over to you, Matt.
I don't remember asking that, but it is part of my contract. So thanks for remembering, Greg. I just wanted to quickly cover some of this next use case for our AI. And as Greg said, starting in April, Trademark Center will offer an AI-assisted mark description and color claim option in the initial application. So, Jessica, can we see the next slide? So you'll see a button like we have here on the screen. You can click the button and the AI will analyze your mark drawing and it'll provide a suggestion. So you'll be able to edit or delete the AI suggestion. It's completely optional. You don't have to use it. And please note, as it says in the little bubble here, AI can miss things or it can even make up or hallucinate details that aren't there. So please do make sure to review these suggestions carefully. These are just AI suggestions. Please don't treat it like the final deal. But one of the things this will do, besides just saving a step, is it will also give customers who don't have a lot of filing experience a good example of the kind of formatting we're looking for. I know those of you in the audience are familiar with the mark description requirements. You've been filing with the USPTO for a long time. You know how to put these together. A lot of customers struggle with it the first couple of times. So this reliably provides a very good first draft for them. And we issue a lot of requirements to fix these problems, fix mark descriptions and color claims. In the past year, we have issued more than 60,000 first office actions that have a requirement to amend the mark description or color claim. That's roughly a rate of 1 every 2 minutes. So we've probably issued one since we started this slide. So let's check out how it works on the next slide. All right, so you've clicked the button, it's generated the mark description. I won't read the whole thing here. I do want to note this is the mark description for our semi-quincentennial logo, designed by the winner of the USPTO Employee Design Competition, Melody Gallipo. Thank you, Melody, for this very nice logo that we get to use to celebrate 250 years. I picked this because it's a complex image with some highly stylized wording. It's got design elements, a lot of the things that we'd see in a complicated mark. And so the AI is produced with very little prompting on our part, a mark description and a color claim, including the color location statement in the mark description. And again, the prompt was fairly straightforward on this one. This description is unaltered. So even without specialized training, the large language model, the LLM that we're using for this, it can correctly handle things like you'll see at the end the white background statement. Yeah, that wasn't prompted for, but it knew to put that in there. So it got the white background represents transparent areas, and it's not claimed as a feature of the mark without any special input on our part, just by reviewing this. So we've tested these models extensively for the Class Act implementation. We continue to perform quality monitoring. And the reason we do this is because the way that we use AI in Trademark Center, both on the back end and the Class Act applications that Greg mentioned, and on the front end, like the ones you're going to see here, it's modular. So each piece can be fine-tuned and the models can be swapped in and out depending on how they're doing. So for example, what you're seeing here was produced by OpenAI GPT-5. That's the model that we used. And we used the medium, the standard model settings without any tweaking to produce that. However, as we're working on implementing this, we are not only experimenting with different models and prompts, but also different settings within the models. So we're always looking to improve the quality and accuracy of these types of descriptions and, if necessary, color claim. So we look forward to rolling this out in the near future and to bringing other safe and useful applications of AI to Trademark Center, to search, and other external products. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Matt. Yeah, this is really interesting and cool stuff. And yeah, that logo is pretty awesome. So all right, next slide, please, Jessica. Pushing ahead on this, I just wanted to just focus on a couple more things before I hand the microphone back. So for our vendor community out there that's watching and listening, you're soon going to see an opportunity on sam.gov for a couple of pretty significant requests for information that we're about ready to publish. One, which my colleague Amy Cotton is going to just kind of unpack for you in just a moment when she speaks, is targeted on fraud mitigation and has a number of different components to it. And then the other RFI that we're looking at publishing soon is focused on some kind of sticky problems that we have within our workflow. And I'll leave that to Christine to kind of talk about those, but we're really interested in getting those out on the street. Like everything, probably in the next couple of weeks in the early part of April, you can see that, but be on the lookout on sam.gov as you go forward. And then finally, budget season for us begins in next month. And we are very diligently working on our IT and AI programs for the next couple of years. And we're looking forward to getting that work squared away and putting some money and solving some more of these problems. Last slide for me, Jessica, please. Last thing that I just wanted to mention, and I just kind of spoke to it, is, we've got a lot of problem sets that we want to solve with AI. It's not your classic IT stuff. It's other things that we want to work on, and we're looking really hard at ways to make that happen. We are not going to stop our focus on TM Center. We've got a few outlier TEAS forms that we still need to retire. So we're going to work on getting those done. Our TM International, we've got some really exciting news that we're going to share in the next couple of weeks, maybe months, with you about a relationship a deeper relationship with WIPO. And I'll leave that to Amy and her policy team to kind of round that out, but we're really looking forward to making that happen. And then finally, not to forget the people that really make the money and do the serious heavy lifting around here, our production team, both our pre-exam and everybody on the backside of examination side. and our examining attorneys who are in the middle doing the great work that they're doing. We've got to keep those programs and those processes up to speed, and we're going to do that. And we're really looking forward, as an example, to integrating a new editor into our TM exam project as we get going. We're going to realign the trademark product line. We're going to stand down one of our products, and we're going to bring one of the old ones back, and to make that process a little bit more efficient and effective as we go forward. Working with our CIO team, we are anticipating completing our cloud journey. It is supposed to be done by June of next year. But looking at our schedule, we think we're going to be done a little bit early, and that'll be great. And then we can move on to bigger and better things. Finally, in my old life, I was told flying airplanes for the Air Force that flexibility was the key to air power. We're also going to say that flexibility is the key to intellectual property power. And that's kind of the guidepost that we're going to follow as we go forward in this. And we look really, really forward to providing you, our customers, both internally and externally, the best capabilities that we can. So with that, Dan, I am done. And I'll pass it back to you and over to everybody else. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks.
Thanks, Greg. And I think next we're going to move on to Amy Cotton to talk policy and register protection.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. Next slide, Jessica. Wanted to talk a little bit about register protection, fraud, everybody's favorite topic. For fraud, I wanted to let you know that we're chipping away at our inventory of cases that are being held for administrative review. We've made it a priority to remove as many cases from the register as we can and get them out of your way, get them out of the way of good faith applicants. Now, we have a variety of tools that we've developed to make this happen. They're listed here. Let's talk about those a little bit. The first we have is the Administrative Sanctions Program. In FY26 so far, we have removed or have targeted 7,349 applications and registrations that are in our sanctions orders. Some have already been canceled. Some are in the process of being canceled. These were all part of widespread rule violations. So they were parts of scams where we identified the scam in our sanctions order. You can read about them on our trademark decisions database page. If you go to the administrative sanctions tab, you can see all the different sanctions orders we've issued. You can learn about the fraud that we're seeing and what we're doing about it. The next tool is misassignments. This is where we have started back last year in FY25. We started denying filing dates where we had evidence of fraud at the time of filing, where an attorney's credentials were hijacked, and we had a declaration from that attorney saying, I didn't file this. Those scams we've misassigned up to the tune of 7,388. Trademark Modernization Act. These are those non-use proceedings before the director, expungement and re-exam. Since 2022, we've removed 86,277 goods and services from the register, either as parts of registrations or whole registrations when they have found not to have been in use. These are both petitions or director-initiated proceedings. We have our post-registration audit program. To date, since FY24, we've canceled entirely 902 registrations, but we've deleted, about 3,500 we've deleted from registers about 3,500 registrations, goods and services where they couldn't show use. And lastly, office actions. This is where we have we see that a U.S. counsel has been removed from the filing, or removed from the records. Then we can issue an office action requiring counsel if they're a foreign domiciliary. At that point, what we see is those generally abandoned for failure to respond. So that's a way we can probably lose some of these cases. These are generally scam cases, so they just don't respond. Next slide, please. Our next effort was to spread the word. This is to reach victims before they get scammed. So these are folks who are generally not in our subscriber base. If you, like you all here, are in our subscriber base, you see our scam emails, our alerts, but those who are not in our base are not seeing those. They're not getting those warnings about scams and government impersonators. So we've been working to try to do that. One of the things you see here, we've got some FTC blog, a Better Business Bureau blog out there. We've been engaging with Google, trying to let them know about our sanctions orders. When we mention a website, a scam website in our orders, we send it to Google and they remove the sponsored ads from those sites, which is wonderful. Also, we've been talking to the Federal Trade Commission about their government impersonation rule and looking to see if they can give us any help, any relief going after trademark government, USPTO government impersonation. We have spent a lot of time working with domain name registrars to get USPTO impersonation or USPTO infringing websites suspended, and we've gotten 488 suspended since we started the project last year. Next slide. Now, in efficiency, right? We have a lot of work to do to get invalid applications and registrations off the register, and we're working to do that. One of the things that we prioritize is shutting down accounts where there are definite violations happening of the terms of use and filing behaviors. We have shut down over 1,000 accounts, and we're going to accelerate in the coming months as we get better tools for monitoring. So what are those tools? Well, we have, I think we need to name this better, filing behavior anomaly tool. It's in development, but it identifies unusual filing behavior. It allows us to shut down the accounts before they start sending in tens of thousands of fraudulent filings that we then have to manually back out of the case records. So obviously we want to stop them before they flood the system. And this tool will help us do that. So we're getting closer to a tool that allows us to see those cases quickly. We're working on developing workflows that allow us to more efficiently handle bulk transactions. So as you may have seen, if you go to our trademark decisions database, you'll see a sanctions order has many, many steps that affect thousands of files just in one order. So these bulk transaction workflows allow us to more quickly issue and process sanctions orders, making sure each order is uploaded into each record, also emailed to each correspondence address. So there's lots of steps to make sure we're providing transparency into our process, and these workflows will help us. We are developing a case management system. We're calling it the Trademark Register Protection Tracker. This case management tool is designed specifically to help us unify all misuse, irregularities, fraud-related matters into a single trusted platform. It streamlines intake, workflows, tracking decisions across every initiative. And we're really excited about that instead of using just spreadsheets and people's individual, ULs, laptops. We've also developed a dashboard to track the age of our inventory of held cases so we can work to dispose of the cases held for administrative review, particularly the oldest ones. Again, those cases that are just moldering in the holding dockets, not moving forward, we need to get rid of them. And certainly if they're blocking you, we need to get rid of them. So we have a tracking tool for that. Also, we are asking outside vendors through our procurement process, this is what Greg was talking about, to tell us if they have any ideas how to predict the risk of incoming filings as fraudulent. So a risk predictor tool with AI. And that would allow us to identify and divert them out of examination earlier in the process. And lastly, just from an efficiency perspective, we're really excited. We've gotten authority to hire a limited number of positions to support our fraud work. So this is 3 attorney positions in the Register Protection Office and 5 trademark assistance specialists. So tax specialists. For all of you who are concerned about the wait times for the Trademark Assistance Center, we have relief coming. We have authority to hire 5 specialists. It'll take a few months to get them up to speed and trained appropriately to answer your questions, but we're really excited to be able to put some of the staffing, staffing problems that we've had behind us. We're excited about that. Okay, next slide, please, Jessica. I want to turn to legal policy updates. Just to remind you, we issued TMEP updates last November. We have another upcoming release in May of this year. Of course, these updates incorporate case law and exam guidance issued since the last update. We responded to a request from stakeholders. We held a non-traditional mark advanced practitioner webinar last December. Now, following that, we were able to implement design code indexing, for sound and motion marks. So if you know sound of any non-traditional marks, you're searching based on the description of the mark. They're not indexed with design codes as normal images are. We have rectified that for designs. Design codes have been assigned to sound and motion marks, so they're much better searching for those types of marks, and we'll eventually roll the design codes out to all the non-traditional marks. But that was something the stakeholders asked us to do, and we were able to do it. Also, in relation to stakeholder concerns, we eliminated the requirement for a secondary address or suite number with a domicile address. We heard from you all that many businesses occupy the entire building, and therefore there is no secondary address applicable. So that really tripped you up in examination. So we heard you, and we've eliminated that requirement. Lastly, I wanted to tell you we're in the process of issuing a new Systems of Record notice. It's called a SORN for short. And that will allow us to stop redacting information about scammers in our sanctions orders. If you look at the Trademark Decisions database, you'll see there's redacted information about the scammers. So now what are we going to be able to do? We're going to be able to show you that information so our customers know who to avoid when looking for trademark registration services, out there, or they know who to try to sue if they want to take private enforcement action. So we're excited about that development. Next slide, please. Marketing. Let me tell you about our communications and marketing team has gone into overdrive to improve our trademark web pages, including navigation, content, and design. We have been prioritizing web page updates that answer the most common reasons customers call TAC, right? If the TAC wait times are high, we need to push more information out there that answers the question so people don't need to contact TAC. Now, of course, we are hiring. We'll get more specialists, but certainly our web pages were due for an overhaul. So I told you we got the authority to hire, very excited about that. We're focusing on revamping our pages to focus on the most common tasks. So a task-based focus, right? Whatever you want to undertake, there needs to be a big button, apply, big button, search, whatever it is. We're going to do that. We've been refreshing all of our content to address customer pain points that we hear about in our surveys. So please take those surveys, let us know what you think and what we can improve, because we really do look at those surveys results and we really do turn them around and make changes to address those. We're definitely focused on short videos and graphics to improve understanding and to decrease the need for a lot of reading. People don't seem to like to read a lot, so we've got a lot of short form videos. So far we have how do I check status, where is the application form, how do I file a trademark application. So check out those videos if you want a quick and dirty way, information about how to do those tasks. We're doing user testing on the website design, soliciting pro se and practitioner feedback to help guide our redesign efforts. And as you might know, we're combining trademark search with TSDR so that you can search and then look into the electronic records of a particular application or registration that you find in search. Lastly, on marketing, our entire trademarks team has been working on our A250 celebrations this year. We have identified iconic trademark registrations. We'll be featuring those in various forms, so look for those. We've been designing inventor cards that highlight innovators and their contributions. And just yesterday, we started issuing commemorative trademark registrations that include that 250 logo that you saw, designed by Melody, one of our team. We are in full swing to celebrate this country's 250th anniversary. And that is all the updates that I have for you today. So I am going to throw it back to Dan.
Thanks, Amy. And next I'm going to pass this off to Christine Cooper to give an update on operations.
Hi, everyone. I'm pleased to provide some information and updates from Trademark Operations, an amazing team of professionals in our law offices and in trademark services. So I'd like to get right down to brass tacks with a couple of important customer service updates and then provide a pendency update. Next slide, please. So statement of use, or SOU processing, is what we refer to as the time it takes for an SOU to be assigned to an examining attorney after it is filed. Presently, we are working through a backlog, but we are very focused on getting processing times back to our target of 15 days. We've been testing a tool that will auto-process most SOU filings so they can get to examination more quickly. Our testing has gone really well, and we plan to implement this tool in the next week. If this goes forward, and it should really cut into the backlog. But in the meantime, we want to keep you posted on our progress. So soon you'll see a banner on certain USPTO web pages that will indicate the date of SOU filings that we are currently processing. And we'll update this information each bi-week until we're back to our 15-day target. And you can see currently we're processing SOUs that were filed on September 22nd. If you filed an SOU prior to this date and the SOU has not been assigned to an examining attorney for review, you may contact the intent to use unit, and the number is there on the screen. I'll see it if you don't have a visual, say it. If you don't have a visual, it's 571-272-9550, and you should receive a response within 1 business day. Next slide, please. Then regarding requests for certified copies of registrations, we do have a backlog. We're hiring more staff to help, but for customers running up against priority filing deadlines, the certification branch provides an expedited service for certified copies. I understand the process is called an AT cost order. This order type helps expedite requested copies when there is a pending deadline within 2 weeks time. A request for expedited handling must be made by email at the email address on the slide, which is dsd@uspto.gov. This option is not yet available on the Copy Center storefront, but it is in the works. Additionally, note that the delivery option for any order, not just expedited orders, can be upgraded to UPS overnight. Again, the request must be submitted by email to the dsd@uspto.gov. Okay, next slide, please. So pendency, we continue to improve our new application examination wait times, which we refer to as pendency. And in this visual, you can see our pendency has been coming down. And at this point, we're well below our 2 pendency goals this fiscal year. The lower half of this graph with the blue line tracks our first action pendency. And as a reminder, or if you're new to trademark filing, first action pendency is a time from filing a new application until it is examined. Our first action target is 5 months, and you'll see we're currently at about 4.5 months. The upper half of the graph with the green line tracks disposal pendency, and disposal pendency is the time from filing to the time a mark is approved for publication or is abandoned. And our disposal pendency target is 11 months this fiscal year, and you'll see we're currently at about 10 months. This overall downward trend is exactly what we are looking for as we start to see a return to more typical examination and processing timeframes. Next slide, please. So you may remember just a couple of years ago, first action pendency was around 8.5 months. It's hard to believe. And disposal pendency was around 15 months. So though we're currently meeting our targets this year, we plan to keep pushing first action and disposal pendency to get to 4 months and 9 months respectively. At the same time, we want to maintain our high quality work. And to do this, we're going to continue to do a few things. We're going to continue to streamline our first actions by applying a prima facie case standard. We're going to maintain hiring and offer targeted incentive awards. We're evaluating and streamlining our workflows and processes. And as Greg mentioned earlier, we're introducing AI and automation in certain parts of our processes. And we're providing better electronic tools to support quality work. Next slide, please. So in addition to those specific actions, we also plan to produce a lot of work this year. To orient you to this slide, the horizontal axis denotes bi-weeks for this fiscal year starting in October, and the vertical axis is the number of balanced disposals, or BDs as we call them for short, produced each bi-week. The blue portion of the column for each bi-week represents what we project in terms of production, and the red dot represents our actual production. And you can see if the red dot appears in the green, that means we produced in excess of our projection for that bi-week. The picture emerging from this chart shows that overall we're exceeding production projections. The next couple of slides will give different views of how we're tracking our progress. Next slide, please. This slide is a simple line graph showing the number of new unexamined application filings at a given point in time since January 2025. Since that time, you can see very steady progress as we chip away at inventory from a high of about 470,000 classes to under 320,000 classes today. We're watching this number very closely because filings have been really strong this year, particularly US filings. Next slide, please. And we refer to this graph as our inventory management index. It's a nice snapshot of incoming filings versus outgoing first actions by fiscal year. So the green bar indicates fiscal years where we examined more applications than we took in. And the red bars indicate the opposite, fiscal years where we received more applications than we examined. So we want to obviously stay in the green, as this ensures that we're continuing to dig into that unexamined inventory and to help us stay on top of pendency. Our goal is to be in the green by at least 30,000 classes this year, and we think that we'll probably end up examining between 40 and 50,000 more than application classes than we take in. So good news so far. Next slide, last slide, please. Finally, with strong and sustained filings this year, we're in a position to hire examining attorneys. We've hired 26 already in November, and that class is now fully on production and will be graduating from our training academy in the near future. And we're in the process of lining up a new class of 30 or so examining attorneys to start shortly on April 20th. So we should get to or pretty close to our goal of 70 new hires for this fiscal year. And that wraps up our operations update. I thank you for your time, and we always welcome your comments, questions, and feedback. And I will turn it back over to Dan.
Thanks, Christine, and thanks everybody for all the information today. We're going to take a few minutes to answer questions, and while our team is gathering some questions to ask, I'll put out a reminder. So our slides will be posted within approximately 48 hours on our USPTO Hour webpage. And also this is being recorded. So generally what we do is within about 3 weeks or so, we'll be posting the recording on YouTube. So you'll be able to see a re-recording of this. As I'm looking at a couple of the questions, one thing I will mention that Christine addressed was regarding certified copies. I saw a question in the chat. Note that the email address is dsd@uspto.gov, not .com. It's always going to be a .gov email address. And that's the same address for both certified copies and for assignments. The certification branch handles both certified copies and assignments. And I think from what I'm seeing on the website, one of the questions was about the processing goal for assignments. It's at 10 days right now. And again, similarly with assignments and with certified copies, they are working on both backlogs.
There were a couple questions about what the internal chatbot, what the use case was for that. I don't know if it's something that Greg wants to address. Scout.
Thanks, Amy. As in any chatbot, the desire is to be able to quickly get to the information and the question that is asked. So it's a very basic process where there's a dialogue window that you type in your prompt, you ask the question, and that chatbot can search through a number of different sources of information to return the question. And as I mentioned, we have released our internal chatbot to our non-production staff, and they are looking through different documents and things that they're interested in. It will really, we think, pay dividends once we release it to the production team so that they can look through the TMEP and a bunch of prior cases and everything else that they need to kind of do as in their analysis as they go forward. But that's really the use case. You can't put that encyclopedic knowledge in your head. It's really hard to leaf through a document, and so we rely on the AI to help us answer those questions. I hope that helped.
Okay, there's another question. How do you verify identity to prevent fraudulent activity? When contacted by the USPTO, should they verify my customer number and private PIN? I think private customer number and private PIN is patents. No, we don't have that on the trademark side. But when you are contacted by somebody and they claim to be the USPTO, the best way to figure out if it's a legitimate caller is to go into our system. Is called TSER, Trademark Status and Document Retrieval, and you go to your serial number and you look to see what is in the file, your electronic records, and whatever is in that file, that's legit. And you can tell if what you're receiving from them or what you're hearing from them, if you verify it against TSDR. Certainly you can call the Trademark Assistance Center and ask the question as well. We know that wait times are high though, so that might not be the fastest way, but the most effective way is to look in your own records for your serial number in TSDR and verify whatever communication was given to you. If a USPTO examining attorney calls you, you can always request, you could always hang up and you look at your documents and see what phone number is there, call that number and see if the examining attorney is the one who's been assigned to your case. So it's a little complicated. We're working eventually to get to a system kind of like your banking app, where everything that you need to know is in your phone, in your account, that you can access through an app in your phone. So if anything that comes from us will come and show up in your account, in your app. And that way, no one will get solicitations, or if they get solicitations, they can ignore them, because anything that you need to know about your file will show up in that app. So that's what we're headed towards. In a year or two, we'll get there, hopefully, fingers crossed, and that will remove or makes these fraudulent solicitations less relevant. And I'm scrolling through questions. There are a lot. There were some questions about whether the application documents are made public. So when you file an application with the USPTO, everything in it is public except your credit card number. Everything in it is public. We have, information all over our website. Why is that? Well, because you are entering a legal proceeding and you're in a conversation with the USPTO, but you're also in a conversation with third parties who want to know what you're doing in case it somehow infringes on their trademarks or their business activities or whatever else. So we create transparency so that the USPTO can evaluate your application documents, but also third parties can evaluate your application documents. So what happens though is examination is only part of the trademark registration process. The other part of the process is oppositions. Oppositions are where we publish your application for opposition, and a third party can oppose it and say that you should not register for whatever reason. So it's not just the USPTO who's looking at this information, it's everybody who's looking at this information, and that's the design of the system. If there is information that you do not want to make public, that's a different issue. You certainly can file a petition to redact information. So you go to our forms pages and look to see if you meet the requirements for a petition to redact. So that's a little background on that requirement. Hopefully that's helpful. We got some suggestions for trademark search. Thank you. Appreciate that. And if any of you see a question on the panel that you want to answer, please pipe up.
There's a couple of comments in here about the image, the new beta image search tool that's going live in a couple weeks. Note that is a tool only available, being tested out for the public. At this time, this is not being used by the examining attorneys. The examining attorneys use the same search system that they are currently using. So they are not using this AI image search tool. We're presenting it to the public first. We want to get feedback, and we hope that this is particularly going to help with designs to, the ability to be able to put your image directly in and have the AI run a search on it. We hope will be helpful to you.
Somebody asked, where can I get guided help to fill out my application? The USPTO cannot provide any legal advice, and if we held your hand and walked you through the application, that would be providing legal advice. You need to make your own business strategies. However, if you go into the Trademark Center and start to file the application, you'll see that it's like a smart form. It walks you through very carefully through the application, telling you what everything means, what are the implications of it, and it should help you get through the application process effectively. We always, suggest that filing with a licensed U.S. counsel is the best option to make sure that you are applying for exactly what you need. and exactly, covering the goods and services that you're offering, and make sure you're in the best legal position if there ever is an infringement of your mark. We have some questions about assignment recordation. That is handled by another branch. It is not under trademarks jurisdiction. So I don't know if anybody on the panel has any information
Well,
about.
So
recordation.
similarly,
You wanna
this
share?
gets back to the dsd@uspto.gov email address. Our certified copy center, the certifications branch handles both the certified copies and the assignments. So when we talked about the hiring that is taking place in that area, that will be to address both the backlogs for certified copies as well as for assignments. And as far as expedited requests, your best option is to email directly that dsd@uspto.gov email address with your specifics, especially if you're running up against a deadline, so that they can work to expedite your request.
It looks like we have a question about the examination of an SOU and whether it's assigned to a new examining attorney. Generally not. The statement of use stays with the examining attorney who was originally assigned to examine your application. Now that could change if, of course, that examining attorney is reassigned to a new position or leaves the office. And in that case, someone else will generally take that over.
One question was, many inventors, I think you mean trademark applicants, add their phone numbers on their applications. Are examiners ever really going to call the numbers? Yes, they will, but you are not required to put your phone number. You will see when you go through the application form, it is optional to put your phone number on there. As long as we have your email address where we can send correspondence to, we're good to go. If you want to put your phone number, the examiner can call you to work out the details of a particular office action or response. But if you don't want to put your phone number on there, don't.
Amy, I'm not sure if you already addressed this. There were a couple questions about letters of protest. One about the current processing times, but also another question about, has the pre-pub protest policy changed?
No. Without more information, I can't tell you more, but no, it has not changed. As for pendency, under the Trademark Modernization Act, we are supposed to turn around these requests within 60 days. We're right around that. We lost quite a few staff members over the last year, and we're prioritizing protests, so we're right about at 60 days. So if you're looking at a pendency issue, that's where we are.
And we are running up right against
Oh, yep.
1 o'clock. I think we've addressed the majority of these. I apologize for any that we didn't get to, but we really appreciate you all taking the time to listen in today, and we hope to see you again at an upcoming USPTO hour coming soon. So thanks again for joining us, and have a good rest of the day.